Now this is the blunderbuss. This beautiful piece of machinery was built about 1770 something, and it's a flintlock. You see the spark is ignited by this little flint here that's held in that little clip there, and at the end of it it's splayed out. And the idea, according to a lot of people, is that this was like this, so the bullets would spray out like a fan. So if you're on a coach and you wanted to shoot someone, you just had to fire in the general direction and you would hit somebody. But that's not correct. The reason it's like this is because on a coach which is shaking about, if you have to reload it and you have to put powder down inside there because this is a muzzle loading gun, if it was a small barrel, most of the gunpowder would fall on the floor. So it helps you actually load the gun. But that's got nothing to do with what I'm about to tell you now, which is about a young boy who got eaten by a lion because he was too curious. Let me tell you, The Lion and Albert. There's a famous seaside place called Blackpool that's noted for fresh air and fun. And Mr. and Mrs. Ramsbottom went there with young Albert, their son. A great little lad was young Albert, all dressed in his best, quite a swell, with a stick with a horse's head handle, the finest that Woolworths could sell. They didn't think much of the ocean, the waves were all fiddling and small. There was no wrecks and nobody drowned, in fact nothing of interest at all. So seeking further amusement, they paid and went to the zoo where they'd lions and tigers and camels, old ale and sandwiches too. There was one big lion called Wallace. His nose was all covered in scars, and he lay in a somnolent manner with the side of his face to the bars. Now Albert, he heard about lions, how they were ferocious and wild. To see Wallace lying so peaceful, well, it didn't seem right to a child. So straightway the brave little fellow, not showing a morsel of fear, took his stick with the horse's head handle and stuck it in Wallace's ear. You could see that the lion didn't like it, for giving a kind of a roll, he pulled Albert inside the cage with him and swallowed the little lad whole. Then Pa, who had seen the occurrence, didn't know what to do next, said, "Mother, young lion's eaten Albert." And Mother said, "Well, I'm vexed." Then Mr. and Mrs. Ramsbottom, quite rightly, when all said and done, complained to the animal keeper that the lion had eaten their son. The keeper was quite nice about it. He said, "What a nasty mishap. Are you sure it's your son he's eaten?" Pa said, "Am I sure? Here's his cap." The manager had to be sent for. He came and said, "What's to do?" Pa said, "Young lions ate Albert, and him in his Sunday clothes too." Then Mother said, "Right's right, young fella. I think it's a shame and a sin for a lion to go and eat Albert after we've paid to come in." The manager wanted no trouble. He took out his purse right away, saying how much to settle the matter. Pa said, "What do you usually pay?" But Mother had turned a bit awkward when she thought where her Albert had gone. She said, "No, someone's got to be summoned," and that was decided upon. Then off they went to the police station in front of the magistrate chap. They told him what had happened to Albert and proved it by showing his cap. The magistrate gave his opinion that no one was really to blame, and he said that he hoped the Ramsbottoms would have more boys to their name. At that Mother got quite blazing, and "Thank you kindly," said she. "What, waste all their time raising children to feed ruddy lions, and not me?" An unrelated subject is this sword here, which has probably changed the event of history. Right, now what's interesting about this sword is that, well, it's a cavalry sword made about 1770, 1750, something like that. But what is particularly interesting in this sword is that we know where this sword was used and who it belonged to in the Battle of Saratoga, because inscribed on the scabbard here, which is very difficult to see, but it's been reproduced here, and it says, "Sword worn by John Black in the Battle of Saratoga, U.S., 1777. Now, in that particular battle, it was a decisive battle in many respects as far as independence was concerned from America. And had John Black fought a little harder and Britain had not surrendered in that particular battle, the whole course of history would have changed. Not maybe, not possibly, but definitely. And so what's particularly interesting about this sword is that we know who used this sword when it was used. Otherwise, it's like many swords, beautifully made, and but this one we can actually tie it down to that particular time. So this changed the course of history, no doubt about it. No doubt about it whatsoever. This sword helped to change the course of history. And the other interesting thing about this sword is that in that particular battle, the British surrendered with all their weapons. So in actual fact, this weapon was surrendered at the Battle of Saratoga, and it shouldn't be here. How it came to be here, I don't know. But it's rather interesting that on the scabbard here, the inscription has been filed away, but it was with great difficulty that we were able to read it. So there's a lot of more history behind this that I can't tell you. But anyway, that's something that's interesting, and perhaps I'll show you something else that's a little bit interesting as well. Not now, but later.
Yes, if a case is unchallenging, it might be returned.